Hello, and welcome to the show. I hope that you enjoy. Perhaps you'll find motivation through this, but nonetheless, let me express one form of creativity through writing. Minecraft writing. After that horrific battle, I don't think I can do it anymore. After watching my comrades die brutally for a war that I didn't even think was worth fighting, I realized that my government and the state didn't value our lives. I mean, we were numbers. I was their greatest general who'd won countless wars for them, and even then, once I needed help, it was just move on and get the job done. Cold. No heart. Although, my fallen enemies would probably say the same about me. To be honest, if it wasn't for the strength that Lilith gave me, I don't know that I would have been as successful as I was. I don't know how they came about power like that, or how they extracted the essence of the demon goddess into Lilith. I will look into everything like that, but I can't stand for meaningless bloodshed anymore. Killing without a purpose is sick. I have removed sons from their mothers and fathers from their children permanently, all for the bidding of those who made the decisions. A war dog following its owner's orders. No longer. I am now free, and along with freedom, I have Lilith. I'm going to go far and start anew. In this new land, I have made some acquaintances. I do not know how things will turn out, but I won't let it be like last time. I will have power, I will have defensive protocols, but I will also have peace. Hopefully. I do have plans. I think I'm going to build a giant complex, maybe multiple. Then I'll just grow power on the low and from within, and I will investigate the mysterious powers of this world. I think Mason might kill me, but then again, maybe not. Still, he is mysterious and a potential threat. I will only treat him as such if he makes himself out to be one. I pray for peace and prepare for the worst. I want to be allies and have business relations with as many of the races here as possible. Something is different these days. I feel a lot more in tune with my senses when I hold Lilith. It's like the sword knows me, like it's bonding with me. And things are heating up around the world as the endless struggle for power continues. Whether I want to or not, I feel I'll be dragged in. As the complex becomes more complete, I do as well. Despite me being pretty poor, that is. It's enough. Sometimes I hear random things that I can't explain, and not to sound crazy, but it feels like Lilith is calling to me. All I really know about the sword was that a demonic goddess's essence was trapped inside, and that it's a very powerful sword. Feels like something else is at play. I don't know. I don't know yet, but I will look into this. As the days go on, I feel something stirring up inside of my soul. However, it is not tormentful as you would expect. It was actually comforting. I just want to know what is happening to me, especially since the woman's voice I keep hearing in my head grows louder and stronger. It has been 3 days of non-stop agony. Please make it stop. It finally happened. It felt so agonizing and then so comforting. The woman I kept hearing introduced herself to me as Lilith after it happened, which means our bond just became something very different. She also mentioned something about her son. Well, it took just a short time for me to learn that Lilith was Mason's mother and that her soul was bound to my sword by my governmental overseers back when I was the head general. It brought me and Mason to a standstill as he decided how we were going to handle our situation of me wielding the essence of the demon goddess Lilith, his mother, but we came to an agreement. We should work together. He explained to me the sword in which he wielded, called Bakasura, which had the soul of his father. As it were, Mason had just had pretty much all his and Aiden's belongings robbed from him by Connor. This made everyone very expectant and weary of war, and not for good reason. Not only did we not share an elevated connection, but he got robbed unjustifiably, and that's bad. And I was actually, not only did we now share an elevated connection, but he got robbed unjustifiably, and that's bad. Gave me reason for me to get involved in at least supplying him with goods for now, for the war effort. I think that mysterious stranger Tella I've interacted with may or may not play a role in this. The Vavilonian forest has burned down today. Not the greatest of things, but something I did for shock and war preparations for all involved. If it can happen to me, it can happen to anyone, right? I'm hoping that this will help Mason stay hyper-focused on the overall war effort in getting his base built. I know I can make a lot of money and a lot of resources out of this whole fiasco without getting directly involved. I know war is inevitable, so I'm putting investments in who I think will win. Not only do I think Mason will come out on top, I also think he had an unjustified crime committed to him. After meeting Lilith, perhaps not in flesh, but spirit, she has lately mentioned honing techniques involving curses. I don't understand what she means just yet, but I have a feeling those topics will be crucial in learning the properties of this world and possibly mastering them. The progress on the complex is going really well. There is a ton more to do, of course, but my citizens will have a safe place to live with a bustling market and more. The walls are high, and soon, once the town's construction is complete, I can start moving people in. I haven't been I haven't been keeping much in contact with everyone else. I've been too busy honing my republic to be exactly what I want it to be. A fair land, not ruled by some lifeless hierarchy, but ruled by someone who actually cares about the people. I do visit Mason from time to time, mostly to help with various largely ambitious projects, but he's good for it. Connor's likely plotting something, but we probably won't know until it's too late. But Lilith brought up curses again in passing. It appears she can communicate with me as she pleases, though that's not terribly often. She says that the reason her soul was trapped was because back when Mason was a child, my previous rulers kidnapped him and took him hostage, and in exchange for the freedom and safety of their son, Bakasura and Lilith had to imbue their cursed essence, energy, and power into strong weapons known as weapon vessels, simultaneously preserving their existence with these weapon vessels and giving up their freedom as beings to be used by humans all in the name of them gaining power, and the demon god and goddess preserving their son, whom they care for deeply, from a very grim demise, because we know they are willing to kill kids. My previous rulers gave me Lilith as I had never shown anything but utmost loyalty and a knack for winning most of the conflicts I was ever even involved in. We know how the rest turned out. I think me renouncing those who I was previously loyal to and putting all my chips into settling in and comprehending the mysterious nature of this world is what triggered me and her to truly start bonding. Oh yeah, it probably helped that I made friends with her son. Though I know her soul is bound to this weapon vessel, I sense she is free. Perhaps the combination of her being used to preserve creativity as opposed to causing destruction, and finding out her son is doing good and also wielding the weapon vessel in which Bakasura's curse is imbued makes her feel like that despite the circumstances, her family is still together. I would like to think that maybe I'm becoming part of that family too. I wonder how this will affect the politics of the world. I think I'm sort of starting to understand some of this curse nonsense Lilith keeps mentioning. Just as she has had her curse imbued into this weapon vessel, one can amplify that power with technique. She says that one can directly reap the power within the vessel with a cursed technique to use the vessel's power outside of the vessel itself, if that makes any sense. She says that these cursed techniques come in many forms based on the power of the being. In this world with demon gods and other higher beings greater than us earthly creatures, Lilith said that most of all these beings have many innate cursed techniques imbued with their souls, which is why my previous employers were trying to harness that power for themselves. The only reason that the humans were able to get the upper hand on beings such as these was because these immense powers only started fully developing some years after birth. Therefore, the child was very vulnerable during this period of time, so naturally they kidnapped him before any substantial power could develop and use his life as leverage to harness his parents' power. Well, we all know how that turned out too. She said one of these techniques is something called instantaneous transmission. It allows the user to instantly teleport over various distances in exchange for a little bodily harm. It's a strong power, but I guess it is still a curse, whatever that means. Over the next couple of months, I'll be working to fully use and master this technique. Perhaps by doing so, I will bond even closer to Lilith and potentially learn new curse techniques. Although if everything Lilith told me is true, that should mean Mason should have a powerful innate curse technique as well. Not one learned, like mine, but one that he was born with fundamentally. Though I have never noticed it looking back on my interactions with him, so perhaps he holds back for some reason, maybe to not draw attention from peering eyes and the particularly evil type. Nonetheless, the future looks quite interesting.